Ecuador has another region which is separated from the continent and firm land. To arrive, it is necessary to insert oneself in the Pacific Ocean almost 1,000 kilometers. In the middle of the ocean, there is a place considered one of the last natural paradises of the planet. Born from the volcanic fire from the bottom of the ocean, one finds the islands which form the archipelago known as the Galapagos. The islands are located on the equatorial line, under the burning sun of the tropics, but bathed most of the year by the cold marine currents of Cromwell and Humboldt. This combination of temperate and tropical environments reflect in the flora and fauna of the islands, most of which cannot be observed any other place in the world. The Galapagos were formed from a complex geological process of submarine eruptions during millions of years. It was in Galapagos where Charles Darwin conducted many of the observations that allowed to formulate the theory of evolution of species and explain how plants and animals change and adapt depending on the conditions of the environment. When observing the natural life of the Galapagos, Darwin noted, "Hence, both in space and time, we seem to be brought somewhat near to that great fact, that mystery of mysteries, the first appearance of new beings on this earth." In 1959, from this date, the government of Ecuador and international organisms are concerned for its conservation. Nature lovers of all ages and countries arrive daily to the enchanted islands, full of expectations and searching for different objectives.
What are your expectations? What do you want to see over there?
Sharks, sharks, sharks.
To see the wildlife mainly, to relax, do lots of snorkeling.
So many friends had told me that this is the place.
We want some relaxation, some beautiful nature, and that's it.
See the animals, snorkeling.
Galapagos has two airports. The first one is on the island of Baltra, next to Santa Cruz, while the second one is located on the island of San Cristobal. After going through the Galapagos National Park control, the visitors may choose to stay on the principal islands and carry out visits to the different sites in daily tours, or board and navigate through the archipelago. This is undoubtedly the best way to discover this natural paradise. The touristic flota of Galapagos offers a variety of alternatives. Tourists may choose among sailboats, ships, or catamarans, but whatever your choice, visitors can be certain that the service of the ships and trips to the islands will be backed up by the kindness of the crew and the experience of the naturalist guides of the Galapagos National Park. In the same manner that Charles Darwin did almost 200 years ago aboard Her Majesty's ship Beagle, we begin our journey through the islands in what he called Chatman. San Cristobal, Puerto Vaquerizo Moreno, a picturesque town, offers stores, restaurants, and an interpretation center from the Galapagos National Park, where visitors may learn more about the natural history of the islands. The sea lines show us where we will take a dinghy that will take us towards the ships we will navigate on around the archipelago. Española Island. The sea lions accompany us from the very beginning of our journey. On this island, we may walk among them while they rest, basking in the sun. The young sea lions are like small playful children and can be observed up close by the visitors.
Well, I was not doing much, but the sea lion took a liking to my nose and my glasses. So it was certainly a memorable experience, yeah, sure.
Small sea lions may be observed next to their mothers breastfeeding. This activity can last up to 3 years. Although they may seem slow and move with difficulty on land, these mammals are agile swimmers that can surprise more than one visitor during snorkeling. Although they are quite friendly, under no circumstance must the visitors touch the animals from the islands. Even if they come close to us, it is best to keep a distance for their own safety. Punta Suarez is perhaps the most important visiting site of Española. On the trail, our attention is quickly captured by elegant white birds with yellow beaks. The albatross arrived to Española to nest at the end of March. Visitors to this island have the opportunity of seeing these beautiful birds and witness one of the longest and most coordinating mating rituals in nature. Females lay one single egg, which will be protected by both parents. Unlike the rest of the birds of the area, the albatross move the egg from one place to another, for reasons not well understood. Navigating towards the west, we arrived to Floriana. Full of history and legends, Floriana offers the pinkest landscape of the archipelago. In the interior of the island, salty and muddy lakes are the home to a small colony of flamingos. These birds are observed while they peacefully feed off shrimp and small crabs in the lakes. Despite its landscape and fauna, one of the principal attractions of Floriana was built by humans. The postbox, used from the end of the 18th century in the time of buccaneers and whalers, is still in service. Visitors may leave mail for their friends and hope someone will find it and send it off. As a way of payment, one must take letters and send them from their country of origin, maintaining this traditional way of communication. Nearby Floriana is the Devil's Crown. This is a partially submerged crater, considered one of the best spots for snorkeling. White-tipped sharks, rays, sea lions, and even hammerhead sharks or penguins may be observed without having to dive to a great depth. Nevertheless, for the more experienced divers, Devil's Crown offers crevices and caves worthy of being explored. As we leave Floriana, we head towards Isabela. Isabela is the largest island of the archipelago. The island welcomes us at Puerto Villamil, a small port with an extensive white sand beach, considered one of the most beautiful of the archipelago. One of the most important attractions of Isabela is the horseback ride through the highlands of the island. Visitors do not need experience to ride the tame horses provided by the local guides. Compared to the dryness of the lower lands, the humidity and greenness of the vegetation in the highlands of the island is surprising. A clearly marked trail leads us towards Sierra Negra. This immense lava plain is in reality the crater of the Sierra Negra volcano, an active volcano which offers an amazing view. The black volcanic rock plains are interrupted by fumaroles which confirm the activity of the volcano. This vision makes us think what Darwin did when he first arrived to the Galapagos and observed similar landscapes. Nothing could be less inviting than the first appearance. A broken field of black basaltic lava, thrown into the most rugged waves and crossed by great fissures, is everything covered by stunted, sunburnt brushwood, which shows little signs of life. We are in the middle of our journey, but undoubtedly, one of the characteristics of Galapagos which most has impressed scientists, including Darwin himself, is the marked difference of the flora and fauna among the different islands, despite being so close. This fact influenced the theory of evolution of Darwin, who noted, "I have not as yet noticed by far the most remarkable feature in the natural history of this archipelago. It is that the different islands, to a considerable extent, are inhabited by a different set of beings. I never dreamed that islands, about 50 or 60 miles apart, and most of them in sight of each other, formed of precisely the same rocks, placed under quite a similar climate, rising to a nearly equal height, would have been differently tenanted, but we shall soon see that this is the case." These natural differences among islands still surprise scientists and visitors as it did Charles Darwin himself.
On every island, on every place we went, there was a totally different type of not only nature but the fauna and the atmosphere of every island is different, and that surprised me a lot. I should have known it because that's the whole point of the biology here, that each island has evolved separately, or let's say the life of each island has evolved separately from each other one, but it's very, very astounding to see that.
Let's continue our journey on Santa Cruz, the second largest island of the archipelago. Santa Cruz, the city of Puerto Ayora, is the largest settlement in Galapagos and offers all the services to the visitors, including banks, internet, hotels, and art galleries. On this island, we find the Charles Darwin Research Station, next to the main offices of the Galapagos National Park. The station and the Interpretation Center of the National Park allows us to understand a little better the process which forged life on these islands, its dangers, and how we may help conserve this wonderful place. Santa Cruz might be the best place to observe the reptiles of Galapagos. As Darwin mentioned, few places on the planet exist where reptiles dominate the ecosystems, and Galapagos is one of them. The giant tortoises, which give the name to the islands, are perhaps the most representative animal of the archipelago. These immense tortoises can weigh up to 250 kilos and play an important natural function, similar to that which mammals play in other ecosystems. Despite they were not directly observed by Darwin, the giant tortoises were of great importance for the theory of evolution, due to the differences that appear on the shells of the animals from the different islands. The marine iguanas are the only species of its class that feeds from marine algae. Despite being great divers, capable of staying underwater over an hour, most feed from algae on the rocks of the intertidal zone. In the meantime, land iguanas feed off cactus, which in many occasions are eaten with thorns. These animals are commonly observed taking in the sun. This activity is of great importance for their metabolism, since they depend on the environmental conditions to regulate their body temperature. Going from scales to feathers, another group which may be well observed in Santa Cruz are the Darwin finches. These birds may go undetected because they are not the most colorful ones. Nevertheless, they appear in the history of natural science as an emblematic species for evolution. Darwin found the different shapes of the beaks of finches fascinating. He was able to realize that the shape of each beak was an adaptation directly related to the ecology of birds. Cruise towards the island of Seymour. This small island has a trail which offers the best opportunity to observe frigates and blue-footed boobies nesting. Perhaps one of the most appealing characteristics of the frigate birds is the manner in which males attract females by inflating their impressive red sacs in their chests. Despite being experts in the air and in the water, the blue-footed boobies are quite silly on land. The reproductive dance of these birds is a well-worth ritual to observe. You may be wondering why these boobies have blue feet. If you find an explanation, we would like to know. Island, and with which visitors may swim.
There's a very interesting moment for me, which is that I was actually touched by a penguin. It jumped off a cliff, I was in the water, and it came by and it touched me on the shoulder. So I was a touch of the penguin. That's a big moment for me.
These penguins are the third smallest species in the world, and the only one that inhabits the tropics. Having the opportunity to observe a penguin, and even more so to swim with them without a thick diving suit, is something that occurs only in Galapagos. A trail of wooden steps leads us to the highest place of the island where we may admire its beauty. Santa Fe Island offers a crystalline bay with white sandy bottoms that may be catalogued as one of the best snorkeling sites of the archipelago. Marine turtles, white-tipped sharks, rays and sea lions rest in this calm bay and may be observed by simply immersing one's face in the water. It is now time to return to San Cristobal and conclude our journey. It is true that there is still much left to see in Galapagos and many land, air, and sea creatures to talk about. Nevertheless, we prefer your curiosity to be fulfilled when you visit the islands. Galapagos is with no doubt a paradise. In few other places in the world are the animals still not afraid of human beings and may be observed up close. In no other place may we feel that at each step we are the first. Galapagos is the best place to understand that human beings and nature can live in harmony. Galapagos not only belongs to Ecuadorians, but to the whole of the world and awaits your visit.